Hello and welcome to the Creatively Challenged podcast, where we talk entertainment news and bring random topics to this $34 card table. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Nolan, and I'm connected by Google Hangouts with my friend Mike Stuglis. How are you doing today, Mike?
We are connected by Google Hangouts. It's a good day.
That was a plug for Google Hangouts.
This episode,
we want Google to give us money.
please give us the
Is
Google
what's
money.
going on.
Yeah. So we got. What's our first news story? Who wants to take
I'll
this
do
one?
it. Tom Hardy.
Hey, you didn't introduce
Didn't
me,
he?
you dick.
Holy
Oh
shit!
my God.
Dan Stewart correcting me for being an asshole over there. Dan Stewart.
This is episode 11.
Yeah.
12.
No, wait. Is
It's
it?
We've been
Yeah.
we've been 12, and we've been following the same fucking thing for 12 episodes.
I know.
And I wasn't.
You also usually
introduced.
have a
I'm sorry,
quote
Dan.
to start it off there, Dan.
Well, I had one ready,
Well, what's
but
the-
I wasn't introduced to use it.
What's the quote?
That's Mother, play The God's Entry into Valhalla by whatever the fucking German
Wagner.
is. Yeah. All right, that's the quote. Let's get the show started, huh?
Okay. Who's got the story?
Okay, Tom Hardy has been cast as Venom by Sony in Sony's new movie, Venom, obviously, and Ruben Fleischer is set to direct. And Ruben Fleischer has done Zombieland, but he's also made that movie that's terrible, 60 Minutes or Less. So, guys, what do you think of this story?
I love Tom Hardy. I love Venom. I love Spider-Man, the whole Spider-Man universe. But after Marvel, the Disney Marvel got a hold of Spider-Man, I had no idea that Sony Marvel was going to continue with their bullshit. So I was kind of surprised to hear they were still going forward with any Spider-Man related films, because Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is now like obsolete, basically.
Yeah.
But I guess they're still continuing in his universe with Venom, and they're using a great actor as him. So, I mean, it's something to get excited for, but also I'm kind of hesitant because now, like, we've rebooted Spider-Man again, and I've already got my mind set in a different Spider-Man universe, but here we are going back to an old Spider-Man universe that is now kind of obsolete. So I'm curious to see how they handle this, but it's just weird to me that they're even going to continue to make these movies.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little disappointed. Not because Tom Hardy was cast as Venom. I think he'll play that character fine. Everyone knows how good of an actor Tom Hardy is. I'm disappointed because Tom Hardy was once rumored for Doctor Strange. He was once rumored for The Punisher, and he was once rumored as Rick Flag in Suicide Squad. Thank God he didn't take that one. But I don't see this one. So it was only a matter of time before I think he was cast as a superhero, because it seems like he was interested in that area. But, I mean, I'd rather see Tom do different stuff. I don't have a lot of confidence in Sony, especially after what the Spider-Man genre has become, pre-Tom Holland. And I like I said, I'm a little disappointed. I don't have a lot of faith in this movie. I love Zombieland, and I think this guy can maybe bring a cool direction like that. But he's also had some misses, so I don't have a ton of faith in this project, I'd say. Ryan, what do you think?
Okay. So there's a lot to unpack here. We've got a Venom movie, a very important Spider-Man character, without a Spider-Man. That's going to be a weird story to tell. Now, they can take a different route with this that could go into recent events in comic books, maybe 3 years old now. They did a different Venom, because Venom is a alien creature that takes a host. So there's been different people that have assumed the role in comic books, and there's a different Venom that just recently was in comics where he was actually a good guy, and it was the childhood bully of Spider-Man.
Flash Thompson,
Flash
right?
Thompson.
Flash Thompson?
Yeah, and he went to the Iraq War, I believe, in comics, and lost his legs due to a bomb. And so he was completely disabled, and then he got the Venom, and he had legs again. And losing his legs kind of taught him not to be a huge dick. And then he ended up just becoming a good guy, and they call him Agent Venom. And I hope that maybe that's the route they're taking, because that's a story you can do without Spider-Man. Maybe it might be weird, it might just be kind of almost just a weird sci-fi movie where a guy gets an alien and he has legs now.
Flash Thompson would have to be a little bit older though. Tom Hardy as a soldier, of course, but Tom Hardy's like close to 40, so he can't be playing a fucking high schooler.
No, with the whole Tom Hardy cast thing. Now, if they take that route, Ryan, which I think they have to now because Spidey won't be in it because he contractually can't be.
Yeah.
That's a cool story to tell, and I'd be on board. Like, I'm gonna see it. Like, it's a Marvel movie, and Venom's like a very iconic villain, and Tom Hardy's just one of the premier actors in Hollywood today. It's still a weird situation, but I think with the situation at hand, they can make a pretty decent film. So
now, Dan, here's the problem, gentlemen. When you take a look at the producers, two of the producers are people that have been involved with Marvel before. We have Avi Arad, who's actually done work with X-Men and Iron Man. But
which X-Men?
That's important.
The first
okay.
one.
That's
the first
one.
one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And then we have Matthew Tolmack, who is involved with the Amazing Spider-Man movies. So, take it lightly. But then the third, gentlemen.
The first one is okay. The second Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Was bleh.
But then the third is what worries me. I don't know how closely you guys follow this, but the third producer is Amy Pascal. And Amy Pascal was heavily involved with the Sony scandal that we had a few years ago, back when Sony sold Spider-Man to Marvel. Jesus. And but she's actually kind of like a shitty figure in the entertainment industry because she had emails leaked that I think she either gave out or something. But basically, she was giving away information and kind of making shady dealings with people. And the fact that she's involved with this is a huge red flag for me. Though we have other two producers that are good, have made, I think, very respectable work. Amy Pascal's name on there is kind of worrying me. But that's all I got on Venom there. I'm just saying, let's tread water carefully.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
They're already treading water carefully with making another movie in this franchise, this Sony Spider-Man franchise, after they already lost Spider-Man. So
yeah,
it's kind of a dangerous dealing to begin with. But hey, they're gonna make it, so it's not up to us.
Absolutely. I got the next story.
Cool. Hey.
So the DC movie universe. Did I interrupt anybody?
No, it was just Dan going, "Hey."
No.
Okay. Okay. So our next story, we've got DC's building a lot of a sort of similar cinematic universe to that of Marvel, and so we've always got rumors swirling, right? And there's a Flash movie coming out. I don't know what year anymore.
2020.
I'm not keeping up with the dates. Thank you, Mike, our calendar over there. And so we've got director rumors coming out now. We have two big names. We've got Robert Zemeckis, the...
Mike confirmed to be the next Calendar Man.
And DC, that actually works.
In the new Batman movie.
So we've got two directors rumored. We have Robert Zemeckis, the figurehead of the Back to the Future movies, and has still
Polar Express.
And Polar Express.
Yeah.
And he has a couple new movies. You might remember Joseph Gordon-Levitt in The Walk, about that French dude who walked between the Twin Towers before they blew up. And you've got Allied, the Brad Pitt movie.
They didn't
about
blow up.
Yes, the Twin Towers blew up, yeah.
No, they didn't. Planes hit them and they collapsed.
They blew up from the planes.
Not
man.
from a guy walking
No.
between them.
No, I didn't mean it like that. That sounded wrong then.
That was just the funniest way you could have described that movie. It's like, it's about Joseph Gordon-Levitt walking between the Twin Towers before they blew up, before George W. Bush blew those buildings up because it's a goddamn conspiracy. That's what you said.
Previewing the next the discussion topic we have later, it's on conspiracy theories. Just a little preview for those listening.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. That's not one we're gonna bring up because that's not a
Okay.
conspiracy.
And so we've got Robert Zemeckis, and we've got also Matthew Vaughn, director of the Kingsman movies, if I am correct
Yes.
on that. Both are great directors. What do you guys think of these? Which would you rather
I
have?
would rather have Zemeckis because I like Vaughn doing his own thing already with the Kingsman movies, and he has his own vision. I don't really want him doing a studio picture, but
Yeah.
I would rather have Zemeckis anyway because he can do it all. He can tell a story, he can do visuals, and I think he can bring some really cool, interesting ideas to this. I would definitely love to see Robert Zemeckis because the way, just in that one shitty scene from Batman v Superman where they show the Flash, and the visuals all look really cool, I can see Zemeckis doing some really cool things with the action in that movie. I would totally want Robert Zemeckis, and I feel like Dan feels the same way.
I do. I love Robert Zemeckis. I love the Back to the Future films. Polar Express is all right. But I feel like Robert Zemeckis really does a good job at telling a really great story while making us believe that his fantasy universe is real. And doing this with this DC universe that's kind of wanted to take a more serious tone when it shouldn't have. Like, the thing is like, why the Justice League has been so fucking cool, like, over the past, like, 70 years or whatever, is because when they always team up, they're always, like, doing, like, these unreal things. And I feel like that this DC universe has tried to, like, make it too real, and then they blow up a lot of buildings and kill a lot of people and, like, make it just really stupid. But with the Flash and Robert Zemeckis at the helm, we can bring it back to being this more cartoony comic book movie, and make it kind of more believable, really, than just a stupid, over our heads type of thing, like the way the rest of the DC universe movies have been. So
Yeah.
I'm with Zemeckis. Like Mike said, Matthew Vaughn's kind of very popular for doing his own thing nowadays. The Kingsman movies are awesome, so he should just stick to that.
What worries me, I think Zemeckis would be able to do a very good Flash origin story, but my problem is that it needs to be consistent with the rest of the universe that's already been established. And one of the things that makes Marvel movies so great is that no matter who's directing it, you really get a feeling that it's a Marvel movie. Everything kind of feels the same, if that makes any sense. And so I would worry if Robert Zemeckis took the helm that it wouldn't be matched to the other movies very well. So I wouldn't be upset, but I'm just saying consistency could really help people kind of respect these DC movies a little bit more, even though they're not very respectable so far. Matthew Vaughn, though, I think would be very, very good to direct a Flash movie, because if he's doing the Flash right, there's a lot to handle, especially if you're traveling at the speed of Flash. I think the way he kind of directs, he's dynamic enough to be able to take on some very interesting scenes that I could kind of picture in my head, of like simultaneous things happening very quick, kind of juggling lots of different events very quickly. Cool.
I think
Mike?
of the Kingsman bar fight scene, where it's tracking shots on the hand, but they're in slow motion and stuff like that. That's where I think Matthew Vaughn could do something really cool with this. I didn't mean to interrupt, but that's kind of what I was going to say.
No, I saw you had something to say. I was almost done. Now, where do you guys want this movie to go? What kind of story do you guys want this to tell?
I got to see what they're doing in Justice League first. I would rather have a self-contained story, though, because I feel like the Flash can travel around the world sprinting, but I feel like it can get lost in the visuals, something like Zack Snyder does, but I would like to see it more self-contained, if that makes sense.
Ezra Miller is a very talented young actor. In the Fantastic Beasts movie, as well as his little bits in, the Justice League trailer. He's
Stick with
pretty good,
Fantastic
pretty
Beasts
funny
on
guy.
that one.
I just think that he being like the youngest member on the Justice League cast, he can really kind of provide something that's very funny, and could be a very with whether it's Zemeckis or Vaughn, they kind of have a unique taste for serious yet comedic type of things. So Ezra Miller would be really good at that. What if Zemeckis takes over the role here though as director for this film? I'd love to see Tom Hanks, because Zemeckis did Forrest Gump and Castaway and Polar Express. Tom Hanks literally played everybody in that movie. So I'd love to see just Tom Hanks, Tim Honks in the Flash movie. So
Dan, I'm not
cool.
lying.
Yeah.
That crossed my mind as well when we were talking about Zemeckis. I just didn't say anything.
Yeah. You can't just like have Robert Zemeckis and not have Tom Hanks.
But
Love Tom Hanks.
overall, can you guys agree that like either of them would be great?
Yeah, I actually would be really happy
Yeah.
with either one of them. And they keep circling great directors, and I think they're going to land one eventually because Mel Gibson was rumored for Suicide Squad 2. What, Dan? What?
I'm sitting in my bedroom and I'm looking at this for whatever reason on on the bedside table. There's a Chicken Soup for the Soul book, and it says like stories by like celebrities, and the first one on the list is Bill Cosby. So this is an outdated book.
Oh my
Any-
god!
This is outdated.
that was worthy to laugh at.
Yeah, that was good.
God damn it. Mel Gibson was rumored for Suicide Squad 2. Man of Steel 2. It's been rumored that George Miller was possibly surrounding the movie too. So I think they're going to land a great director pretty soon. And this might be the first time they do it.
Hell yeah! What's our next story?
What is our next story?
There
we go. Dan, you want to take that? Yeah.
I'll take it. The Scarface remake may be directed by David Ayer. So, we've been over the Scarface remake on this podcast at some point in time, and about remakes and everything. Oh, I just flipped my phone off the table. At some point in time, I was very hesitant with the Scarface remake to begin with, but now it may be directed by David Ayer, who is the most recent director of Suicide Squad and Fury and that third one.
End of Watch.
Yeah. Which I still haven't seen, but I know how it ends, so I'm kind of pissed. But
Don't say it. I don't want to hear. I want to see it still.
yeah, well.
Dan, what do you think of the news?
But David Ayer is the director of that, and I mean he's not coming off of a high note. I mean, here's the thing about Suicide Squad. The vision was impressive. After Batman v Superman, just the promotion and the vision for Suicide Squad was incredible. And then the movie comes out, and it's just like, oh, fuck. This movie is not that good.
No.
But they promoted the fuck out of it. See, with the Scarface remake, you don't want to have the type of promotion and everything like that like it did for Suicide Squad, because if you're remaking one of the most iconic, like, films of all time, Al Pacino and Scarface, like, if you're doing that, you want it to be on the down low. In case it's shitty, then you want everybody to forget about it, So, like, I don't want to make it seem like I'm bagging on David Ayer, but just like after Fury, people are like, oh, this is the guy, and he's gonna direct Suicide Squad, and he's gonna save the DC cinematic universe. That wasn't the case. So, for me, like, seeing the Scarface movie, understanding it's a classic, everybody loves Scarface. Like, if this project goes wrong, like, David Ayer, like, will not be trusted to, like, ever direct a movie ever again. Because then you've got, like, Suicide Squad, and you've got Scarface, which is, like, if he fucks this up, then, like, you're fucked,
Well, here's the
Go
thing.
ahead, Ryan. Go ahead.
Oh. This is being distributed by Universal Pictures, and it's written by the Coen brothers. So I don't think promotion's going to be a
not know
problem.
that.
I don't think the writing's going to be a problem.
I didn't know that. I mean, the Coen brothers, I love Fargo. Fargo is awesome. Well, not the actual town Fargo. It's pretty snowy up there, but the show and the movie. I didn't know that the Coen brothers were doing it.
Okay, I just
so
looked it up. So
those are two superpowers right there in terms of writing and producing. And I guess I trust them to make this, but still overall it's the director's vision that kind of comes to life on the screen. And, you know, we'll just see. I mean, this isn't official yet. Like, he doesn't have the job. Like, this is just like a maybe, right? So, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't want to seem like I'm bagging on the guy, but also, like, coming off of Suicide Squad, I don't want to see the Scarface project crash and burn.
It's hard to have
like
faith.
Suicide Squad did.
I disagree because Suicide Squad was a studio picture. That movie was edited a lot. That movie was changed a lot. And we never got a director's cut, which is rumored, obviously we don't know for sure, to be a very different film. And if you're going to base it off anything like he did before, again, like you said, Dan, the guy has a vision. And I just think if he is, I don't want him to direct this movie. I don't want this movie to be made because I love the original Scarface. But if he is the one to do it and the Coen brothers write it, I'll buy it. But I don't think it's, I think it's unfair to judge him off Suicide Squad. Yes, he's held responsible, but that movie was tampered with a lot, and you could tell the editing is really, really bad in it. And even Jared Leto came out and said the movie is completely different. So, I mean, I think that has to be taken into account as well.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I didn't want to judge the guy, like too harshly, but I mean, this Scarface remake, like this is I feel like it's a ploy just to get money, So it could end up being like a Suicide Squad situation because you've got guys who are like, hey, why don't we just remake Scarface just for the fuck of it? And then, because people are going to get up and go see it, and if it's just kind of a disaster, then, that it just suck. It'd suck for the Coen brothers, and it'd suck for Ayer. So it's not like I'm rooting for it to happen. I just, think that this is, dangerous waters that they're delving into.
Fair. Yeah, totally fair. Our next story... Are we done? Are we done with this? Just clarifying. Okay.
Yeah.
Our next story is the final trailer for War for the Planet of the Apes came out, and that movie will be released July 16th. Personally, I thought this trailer was great. It didn't give us much more that we haven't seen in the other ones, but it again pushes that this is a war, and this will be a contrast between Woody Harrelson and Andy Serkis playing Caesar, and it really looks like they're going to have some great scenes shared together, and it just looks beautiful, and it looks intense, and you could even feel from the trailers that it seems like everything is on the line, and this is humanity's last stand. And I, again, love the first two. Can't wait for this one. Ryan, what'd you think?
It was great. It was mostly the same as the other trailers we've gotten. There's a few extra clips that they peppered in there, and then they added some sort of remixed version of a Stooges song called Seek and Destroy, but that's not important. I just like that song. But it's mostly the same trailer, but that's a good thing because we're not getting the entire movie shoved down our throats in the trailer, do you guys like how they've been kind of showing the same trailer?
I wish
over and over?
more movies did that. You show subtlety over quantity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, with this most recent one, we also, instead of using more clips from War, they used clips from the first two Planet of the Apes movies. We saw some James Franco. We saw some Kerry Russell. So that, I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how trailers should be made. DC Universe, they took some notes on it because the Wonder Woman looks great, and they haven't really revealed all of that yet. So I'm kind of excited for that. But yeah, Ryan, finish your thought on the.
That was about it. I'm just excited. I saw a cool article today though. It was saying that this is, and I don't really, maybe this is spoilers, so spoiler caps on, but they said that this is going to be Caesar's last Apes film, but the Apes franchise isn't done. So I would hope that they maybe explore different things, maybe different times in the Apes timeline. We'll see what happens.
Hold on, why the fuck would they say that?
I don't know.
I kind of assumed that like Caesar was gonna go down. That's just been the tone of all the trailers so far, and that's just the way the movie seems. But like, why the fuck would you say that 2 months before the movie comes out?
That's kind of stupid.
It is
yeah.
dumb. One could assume that Caesar's gonna go down fighting, but one could also assume, like Ryan said, they explore different timelines, and I think that's possible. And just say it after the movie. Say it after.
Yeah.
It doesn't take away from what I'm expecting from this movie at all. But yeah, that's kind of odd.
Well, hold your horses here. Hold your horses here.
Because they did the same thing. Like when Logan was coming out last month, or 2 months ago, like we all knew that it was gonna be Hugh Jackman's last role as Wolverine. Like we knew that, but the creators of the film didn't come out and say like, oh, yep, he's gonna die in it.
Yeah, true. Ryan,
so,
you're gonna say something.
There's a way to handle this.
We don't know that Caesar's going to necessarily die. He might find sanctuary in a different way. Perhaps he finds like a few peaceful humans and they live on their own. We don't know that he dies. There might be some sort of resolve for him and his story's over. But there's a lot of stories to explore.
Absolutely.
Which I guess you're right, yeah. These movies, although it goes unspoken, these movies are connected to the original Planet of the Apes.
I did.
Did you know that?
Really? It's in that timeline?
It's
yeah.
before.
In the James Franco one, there's a space mission that launches, and that's the one with Charlton Heston.
I thought that was just a fun like thing. I didn't know that was like legitimate.
No, like that was supposed to be like, yep, there they go.
Oh.
And then when they come back, it's a Planet of the Apes.
No shit.
Yeah. So that's what's going on. So it's kind of like Alien and Prometheus and stuff like that. But what I like going forward with these, I mean, I've enjoyed these since the beginning. But I kind of like, well, the way this trailer was handled, like you guys said, they didn't reveal too much more. Like, we get what the story's about, but we don't know what's going to happen. And they've used kind of the same trailer over and over again here, and I love that.
Yeah.
But we got another clip to begin this trailer. We got full-fledged ape conversation. There's no more sign language. They are just talking, and that is cool. And it's hype, and they're riding horses and
maybe flying planes.
Stuff.
Maybe flying planes.
What?
Yeah,
really?
that could be a possibility. Yeah.
More like kamikazes, probably. That's my guess.
They're figuring it out. Those apes. They're figuring it out.
Oh my god.
But very exciting. I'm very excited for this film. It comes out the same weekend that Game of Thrones comes back. So
oh shit.
That's gonna be a fun-filled weekend right there. We got apes and war and Woody Harrelson and Jon Snow. Like, it's gonna be nuts. So I'm excited. Great trailer.
Yeah. Did anyone want to take our next story? I will take
Go
it
ahead.
if not.
Yeah.
Okay, so before I start, did you guys see this trailer? I watched it this morning.
I
Okay.
forgot to it, and I put it on the list.
You put the news in. Okay.
No. I mean, you don't have to see it. Like, it's exactly what the fuck you think it is.
Well,
Stupid.
let me explain it then. Okay, so Mike put this on there, and I was perplexed because I didn't know I would be interested in it. And then I watched the trailer for this. This is the emoji the Emoji Movie had a trailer drop.
Technically, it's the emoji trailer.
It is the emoji trailer for the Emoji Movie. This movie has been having like little news stories come about it since the summer. This movie, it looks like it's taking place. It tells the story of an emoji in a kid's phone who gets misplaced and has to like go in and break the code of the phone so he can be a free emoji. And it looks exactly like Wreck-It Ralph. But Wreck-It Ralph is also like a lot of other stories. So it's a safe plot with a new type of idea that it's following of an emoji, which is kind of new, kind of cool. It has an amazing cast. We've got TJ Miller. I don't like Craig.
Yeah. Patrick Stewart steals the trailer. Patrick Stewart plays the poop emoji.
Yeah.
him and his poop son walk out of the urinal, or not, well, the stall in the bathroom, and then the kid poop goes, "Dad, do we have to wash our hands?" And then they just look at each other and laugh, and then they start chanting "We're number 2" as they leave the bathroom. And that was the best part of the trailer. Though overall, I think this is dumb. Ryan, finish your thought.
So James Corden co-stars along with T.J. Miller. I don't like him. I think he's very bad on the Late Late Show. I don't think he's a very funny man, but I don't think this is going to be a very good movie. It will probably do fine in the box office, but watching the trailer for this reminds me a lot of the Angry Birds movie, and not in the plot, but instead of just the market thinking that there's a demand for these things. They're trying to follow a trend, but it's not really going anywhere. Like, there wasn't a demand for an Angry Birds movie. They just announced it, and they were like, what? We stopped playing that 5 years ago. And now there's an emoji movie. It just seems uncalled for, and the movie doesn't seem interesting enough to be really worth anything. What do you guys think?
I'd rather see a Temple Run movie.
No, they were gonna make that. They were going to make that. I was just about to say that they were gonna make that, and then they stopped because they realized that that's fucking stupid.
Yeah,
like we're not gonna make like a fucking side-scrolling adventure about this random explorer collecting little monkey coins and shit. I don't know. Like, that's stupid. Like, here's the thing about this movie. Okay, they get the star-studded cast. You get T.J. Miller. Like, you get Sir Patrick Stewart for some fucking reason. And then, like, you make this movie that is glorifying the way people text now, and I hate it. Like, because I hate 2017, and I hate our generation, everything like that. Like, and now you're making it a movie, and there's going to be so many stupid jokes about texts and all this other shit. And I'm just going to, like, I'm not going to see it because I'm just going to hate myself, and I'm going to hate the world I live in even more for this movie. Like, it's going to be a fun kids movie, you know, and people are going to go see it. But, like, why? Like, whoever, like, thought of I hate whose ever idea was this movie. Like, oh, let's make a movie about emojis. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Like, no, fuck that guy. Like, oh my God, that is such a stupid idea for a movie.
Somebody thought, somebody that is overpaid thought this was a good idea. Someone greenlit this in some office in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Mike, you haven't seen the trailer. What are your impressions of our feelings?
I'm going to watch it just for the Patrick Stewart part.
Yeah, that was actually like the best part, but oh my God.
And it's at the very end.
I'll
you have to get
say
yourself
this.
there.
There's a reason I haven't watched the trailer. Because it's not in my I'm not demanding to see it.
See, but the thing is, we're doing exactly what that jackass who approved of this movie wants, dude. We are generating conversation about this stupid movie.
That's true. Well, I mean, good or bad, it's going to be press about it. So, again, this is going to be probably fine in the box office, you know?
Have you seen Patrick Stewart's interview with Conan? Like, he was on promoting Logan a couple of months ago, and, like, the way Patrick Stewart says poop is the funniest way to possibly say poop. Like you wouldn't imagine the word poop coming out of Sir Patrick Stewart's mouth, but it does. Like, that's how funny he says poop.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, does anyone have any other things to say about this crappy trailer?
That'll do.
No, but there's one more thing we have to discuss before we go over our review of Alien Covenant, and that is the passing of Powers Booth. Now, Powers Booth is kind of a lesser-known actor, but the supporting cast of one of our favorite movies here on the podcast, though, Ryan, you still haven't seen it. So mine and Mike's favorite films, Tombstone. It seems like the supporting cast of Tombstone is just dying. First we had Bill Paxton a couple months ago, and now we have Powers Booth. And it's just upsetting.
And
who's
Val
gonna go
Kilmer
next?
might or might not have cancer, or he did, or something like that.
What?
It was something like
Yeah.
throat cancer or something. I don't want to butcher this, but it was something cancer involved with Val Kilmer, and that's why he got fat.
You could say that's the
You
rumor
could
that he had cancer. But the thing is, Powers Booth, he will be missed. He was the Colonel in MacGruber.
He's known for playing
and that's
villains. He had a historic career of playing villains. I remember him from a series I'm actually just finishing up now, Deadwood, and he plays one of the villains in the show, and he has this commanding voice. And you know, I don't want to harp on it, but they're talking about reviving Deadwood with a movie, and his character, Cy Tolliver, is incredibly important, and I wonder if that's gonna halt this movie or not. But yeah, I was really bummed out to hear this news because he's a lesser known actor, but he's been in a lot of stuff I've seen.
Yeah, and you know, let's just hope Sam Elliott or Val Kilmer or Billy Zane aren't the
It
next
can't
to
be
go,
Kurt
you know?
Russell.
No,
Kurt
it won't
Russell
be
can't
Kurt Russell.
die. I mean, this is known, guys.
No, he never will.
I'm sorry he died, guys.
Oh,
I have no thoughts. I mean, I have thoughts and prayers for him.
You have to just say, like, his name is Powers, man.
Yeah, that's pretty badass.
Like, that is the most badass name, like, ever. Like, it might be like a nickname, but I really don't think it is. Like, that's just like so cool of his parents or whoever the fuck decided to call him Powers. Like, that's bold.
Can you imagine
But
being in a Starbucks?
he lived up to it.
Being in a Starbucks and they're
the
like,
fucking baristas spell it wrong because they're fucking idiots, and their coffee, and the fucking men in their summer scarves. But Powers Booth would not wear a summer scarf, and he's certainly not going to Starbucks because he's not a pussy. He's
Okay.
going to Dunkin' because Dunkin' is where men
Ryan,
go.
what were you gonna say?
I can't even follow that. But I would like to imagine that this badass man doesn't even drink coffee. He just eats the grounds. That's how much of a man he is. Fuck the water.
And he just eats steak too, just beef and coffee grounds. That's what he lives on. Like John Wayne. John Wayne used to live like that.
That guy's dead, huh?
Yeah, he has been for a while.
Yeah. Well, is that all we got on Powers Booth?
Done.
Yeah, R.I.P.
All right. Well,
Powers Booth.
moving on. We saw a movie this week separately because we're in different states now. But we saw Alien Covenant, directed by Ridley Scott, and we're gonna launch right into our spoiler-free review here. Now, gentlemen, we are not doing spoilers this time, right?
Yeah. I mean, correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So we're just going to do a spoiler-free
correct.
for you, and then we're going to give our score. Along with in the spoiler-free there, we're going to go over positive and negatives, as is tradition here. We're on episode 11. Or is it 12?
It's 12.
It's 12, by God. So on the 12th episode here, we're going to launch into this. Who wants to start on
I'll
pros
start.
here?
Hold on, let me get my little note taker out here.
That is called a note.
No, I got a little reporter notepad thing. That's what I take it on. It's kind of gay.
the nut. No. Come on, let's not be problematic.
All right. I think you all will agree with me that the best part of this movie is Michael Fassbender's dual role as playing two AIs, David and Walter. And
Yeah.
first off, it's
Yeah.
amazing how great his posture is and how he is able to just stand still and be a robot. And he has this creepy grin on his face, especially when he plays David from Prometheus returning. I can't praise him enough. I think that this is Michael Fassbender might be the best actor working right now. I wouldn't say the hottest because his movies always aren't amazing, but he's always amazing in them. And
Yeah.
again, I can't praise him enough. He was so creepy, and he was scarier than the aliens, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but I thought he was.
I don't know. Like the alien portions of the film were obviously like the more like horror parts, but his part was like the suspenseful part. Like you know what I mean? Like he was more like Norman Bates, and like the alien was like Norma Bates in the shower and shit. You know what I mean by that? Like if that's like a good analogy.
No, that actually is really good.
Yeah, so like he kind of provided more suspenseful, like, you know, kind of like creepy portion of the film, while the aliens were just complete like jump scares and fucking like
I will
holy
say
shit.
I was on,
You know?
including David and the aliens, I was on the edge of my seat almost this entire movie because they got this creepy score mixed in, and you don't know what's gonna happen the entire time. And maybe we'll get into the negatives, but that's my biggest thing with this movie is I was always interested, whether it was done correctly or not, I don't know, but Ridley Scott knows this franchise and he knows how to craft tension, and this movie was really, really intense at some points. And my last big positive is quick shout out to Danny McBride. He was great in this movie.
Yeah, he was.
He didn't just play the fat funny guy. Like he had some funny one-liners, but I mean, he was actually just a good actor in it, and that's what I thought was also really cool.
And I like how he took pulls of Jack every once in a while. You know? That was cool. I'll get into my positives. I really enjoyed this film. I'm not like all into this franchise. I've seen the first 2 Alien movies. I've seen Alien. I've seen Aliens. Other than that, I haven't seen any of them. I haven't seen Prometheus or Alien 3, but I heard Alien 3 and then Alien Resurgence and Alien versus Predator.
The only other
terrible.
one worth seeing is Prometheus for sure.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But I loved this film. I loved Michael Fassbender. I loved his dual role. Catherine Waterston coming off of Fantastic Beasts. She was great. This whole Alien universe, like I'm on like an Alien high now, you know? Like I've seen the first 2 Alien movies, but I need to see Prometheus, and I want to see like the shitty Alien movies too, just because like this movie was really good. The cast was great. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but I mean, you can expect death in this film.
Not a spoiler. Yeah.
No.
Okay, yeah. So they didn't like try like in one of our earlier episodes we reviewed Kong Skull Island, where they tried to like introduce you to like all the minor characters that are along on the voyage and like try to get you to care for them, and then they die in like a funny way and you don't give a fuck about them. In this, they don't do a lot of introduction to like the minor characters, so that it's not like it doesn't make it stupid that they're dead or anything like that. Like it just from the beginning of the film, the minor characters were just that. They were just faces in the background. They weren't given a lot of lines and everything like that. So when they did the killing of them, like it was really well done, because it wasn't just like, you know, trying to get us to care about them, because we didn't, and like it was to show off like the xenomorph like fucking them up, and it was great.
That's interesting
that,
that you saw that as a positive. But yeah, continue, because
because I was saying like Kong Skull Island did it wrong, you know. Like if you're gonna kill off minor characters, like don't do
expositional
that, like,
dialogue. I get totally
like,
what you mean there. Okay,
exactly,
that's fair.
Because then it's just like pointless. Like, because even like the guy in Kong Skull Island that gets flipped and fucked against a rock, like you were supposed to care for him like the whole movie, but when he died, it was fucking hilarious. So like it almost ruined like his character overall, because I just remember him as the guy who got flattened and fucked against a rock. So I thought that helped, but really just applauding the director, Ridley Scott. This guy can make a movie about space and aliens.
The Martian.
I'll tell you what, this guy, yeah. But like this whole franchise, I like how he's just fucking taken it and corrected it, because for a while when they were doing Alien versus Predator movies, like he wasn't really involved.
He didn't
right?
direct them, no.
They're not even canon anymore, actually.
Okay, good. Because Prometheus and Alien Covenant have completely revived this series. And there are going to be like super Alien, like Sigourney Weaver fans who are like, I hate this movie.
That's what really bugs me.
And I've already and I've already seen that. But overall, like I said, I'm not a big Alien guy. I've seen the two best movies of the franchise, and I came into this one just blind as a moviegoer, and I really enjoyed this film. And I have to applaud Ridley Scott. I have to applaud whoever did the score, because the score was great. I loved Ridley Scott just taking this over. His storytelling, he was consistent. You could definitely say like this was a Ridley Scott like alien film, and I really enjoyed it. So
To you, Ryan.
Well, you guys covered just about every point I had. However, I'm going to focus on my notes here. I've got one little minute detail that I wanted to touch on more, and this is kind of enhancing your guys' points about Fassbender in this movie. I agree he's completely like one of the most impressive actors in Hollywood right now. But for those going to see this movie, it's really impressive how he's able to nail different dialects. And a lot of people might think that doing a different accent is just putting up on a voice, but it's actually a lot more nuanced than that. And it's really impressive to see him be able to nail everything with the different way that phonetics are shaped and vowels and such. So to see him do a very sharp British accent moving to a more Midwestern accent of David and Walter, it's amazing. It's really cool to see. And there's he kind of creates a duality between these characters that actually makes you feel like they are different people and not just identical looking androids. So that's just my other positive there. Really cool
Ryan,
stuff.
do the negatives
Fassbender
since we took up most of the other stuff.
Okay. This movie has a marketing problem, and a lot of times marketing for a movie can almost really ruin its box office performance and sometimes even critical reception. This movie, even the title, is a giveaway of how wrong this was marketed. Alien Covenant, that is. It gives you the idea that it's a new Alien movie, but that's a problem because half of this movie relies incredibly heavily on the events of Prometheus, a movie that not everyone maybe has seen before going into Alien. So if you go into this thinking that you know Alien, you haven't seen Prometheus, and you're just looking to have a good scary time, you're going to be lost on half of this movie. And all the complexity lies in the Prometheus half of this movie. And the rest is sort of a generic, hey, we're in space, we made mistakes with procedure, we're all going to die. It was a very surface level, regular alien story filled with alien tropes. And we're even faced with another female lead who almost exactly plays the same character that Ripley is, in that she is tough, she is very by the books, she knows how to hold her own against everyone in the crew. And that's a problem.
And Elizabeth Shaw in Prometheus.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why when we were talking about the trailers of this for Alien Covenant in our past podcasts, I had a huge problem with how it's already seeming predictable and how we've already got a main character that is practically a shadow of the main characters we've seen in the past Alien movies. And so half of this movie is a very good successor of Prometheus, and the other half is an enjoyable, fun, scary movie, but I'm incredibly critical of it because it's very divided in what it is. Like, it seems like it's begging questions about creation. It's very deep in some ways, and it raises these questions, and it makes you think, and then never fulfills them. Not once. It's just, everyone, things
You would get
happen,
into spoilers if you said that, yeah.
Yeah, things happen, and, it doesn't answer the questions, and maybe they will in the next movie.
It also doesn't...
That's the
okay,
thing. Sorry to interrupt you, Mike. Ridley Scott said there are going to be 2 to 3 more films after this one that leads directly into the back door of the original Alien from 1979. So, there are things to get critical about, but yeah, no, I hear what you're saying because, like I said, I didn't see Prometheus, so I was kind of sitting there the whole movie, and if there wasn't a reveal or a reference to the original Alien, I was just like, okay, I assume I had to know that or know that character from Prometheus.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where at a loss, because if you hadn't seen Prometheus, like, you could be lost with the whole thing. But really, like, I tried not to focus on the fact that I hadn't seen Prometheus when I was sitting down to see this movie, because I just wanted to enjoy my time. I didn't want to sit there and go like, oh, this sucks. I didn't see Prometheus, so I'm going to hate this movie because I don't know what's going on. I wasn't like that because overall, like I loved it. You know, I still really enjoyed the film, despite not seeing Prometheus. So I completely hear what you're saying, but that doesn't make it not an enjoyable movie. You know.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that Prometheus, and this is where it comes into. You haven't seen it, Dan. Prometheus poses a ton of questions about the engineers, the people that we'll say when David arrives on that planet, something happens to the engineers. And there's a lot of questions set up in Prometheus about them that aren't answered in this movie. And that was one of my big things with it. I'm not upset it didn't answer a ton of questions, but it just set up a lot in Prometheus, and it feels like they scrapped half of them and they just focused on David, which is okay. And that, but I had a couple negatives with this. You talked about Catherine Waterston, Ryan. I thought she was very good in the movie, but I thought her and the surrounding characters, and that's why Dan touched upon it earlier. Everyone besides David and Walter, I felt like you said, very surface level characters and very, very generic. Billy Crudup's character, he's like a man of faith, and that storyline goes nowhere. He's, you know what I'm saying? And so I feel like some of the characters were just serviceable, and they were just kind of, like Dan said, set up to die. And I think they even more so do that with their major characters, because they almost try to develop them to the point where it feels forced, because this also fixes into the plot where it's something exciting happens and then there's a rest period, and then something exciting happens and then there's a rest period, and it keeps happening throughout the entire movie. Dan, what was that?
That's kind of Ridley Scott's directing style, though. You know, I mean, that's kind of the way the other Alien films have gone. I see, like, I haven't seen Prometheus, but Ridley Scott does that, though. He builds suspense through doing like 20-minute breaks of dialogue in between his scary action scenes, and I just thought that was just his stylistic approach. And, you know, because of the lack of kind of character development in those, I see where those could kind of be problems for other people who didn't enjoy the movie. They could just say, like, okay, there were these breaks in action where like nothing happened, but that's just Ridley Scott.
Well,
you know?
well, yeah, it's just Ridley Scott, but it's almost you're right, it's his style, but it's almost a safe approach, because we've kind of seen this before in the Alien movies, if you can say that. And again, those are kind of my big pet peeves with it. I didn't have a big problem with the unanswered questions. I'm just saying they were there. But I just felt the plot was very, like Dan, when you were texting me, it was somewhat predictable with the route it was going to take.
Yeah, it got kind of towards the end with, unfortunately, kind of like the most interesting characters in the film between David and Walter, and even us just talking about the fact that Michael Fassbender plays a dual role. Some people could even put the pieces together and know exactly what happens, because it happens a lot when there are parallels in films and dual roles and everything like that. So it's unfortunate that it got predictable, but also that's not where it ends. I'm almost glad that there's going to be a sequel that kind of like two more sequels, I guess. That's
he
what
said
Ridley
it could
Scott
be
said.
anywhere from, one more. Yeah, like he doesn't have a timeline on how many more.
Because it does leave it wide open, and it's a very interesting ending, and it's a thought-provoking ending. And I feel like some of the lack of character development with Catherine Waterston, she did great individually, but she kind of was doing her best Sigourney Weaver impression. And then Danny McBride, I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but they should be back for the next one.
Okay.
I mean, I could kind of see why they shouldn't be. I'm not going to get into spoilers, but they should be back for the next one, and hopefully those characters kind of come full circle. But we'll see.
Let's score this thing. Ryan, what's your we got to average it out. Ryan, what's your score?
With its flaws, it still is a fun, suspenseful film, and it's not enough for me to give it a 2, so I give it a 3.
Cool. Dan, you said you were at a 4 when I was texting you?
Yeah, give it 4 out of 5 gold blooms. I really enjoyed this film. It's a really good summer blockbuster. Ridley Scott's at it again, though it has its flaws, and I could see really big Alien fans who couldn't like it. But as a regular moviegoer who hadn't seen Prometheus, the direct, you know, original film that kind of leads up to it, I still really enjoyed the film. I thought it was good, so I give it 4
And
out of
I'm
5
right in
gold
the
blooms.
middle of you guys. I'm actually at 3.5. That's no bullshit. I actually said that when I got out of the movie. So I think that's actually a mean of 3.5 if we're doing our math correctly.
I'll take it.
3.5 out of 5 gold blooms for Alien Covenant, or which it should have just been titled Covenant. So what's that between The Fly and Independence Day, which is actually perfect. Somewhat of a horror, somewhat of a blockbuster, and they merge together. How about that?
Yep.
Yeah, 3.5 out of 5 gold blooms. If you guys are interested, I'd suggest checking it out. It's a fun movie. See Prometheus first, though.
Oh God, yeah. See.
Ryan, take us into our next one.
Okay. As people, we like to question things, and sometimes people question things a little too much. You oftentimes will meet someone that has a conspiracy theory that they'll want to talk about. We all know someone. And
The same person, actually.
Actually,
We literally all know the same person.
yeah. And so sometimes you come across, you go online, you get in a deep hole reading conspiracy theories, and sometimes you come across one that's so plausible that you actually kind of believe it. And I wanted to ask you guys, what is one conspiracy theory that made so much sense to you that you actually believe it? Does anyone want to start, or otherwise I could start?
You start.
Okay. This one I read online, and it made so much sense that I'm like almost 100% behind it. And it involves Scientology. Scientology is super weird. We all know this. Everyone in it's messed up. It's a very weird organization.
It's a religion, not an organization.
I know, but
I mean, we don't want to be problematic. It's a religion. People actually believe it. I mean, I don't want to make it sound
That's-
like,
okay.
like it's not good that those people believe that. People can believe whatever they want, and that's their religion. That's what they choose to be. We're not problematic.
All right.
Sorry.
either way, before 1950, it was very easy to create a church in the United States, and I believe Scientology was created before then. No, I might be wrong on that. Either way, Scientology was created, and in America, it's actually somewhat easy to create a religion, and when you are a religion, you are tax exempt as long as you are recognized by the United States, and oftentimes you'll see weird things about, oh, this celebrity is a Scientologist. They're weird, like people get the wrong idea about John Travolta, Tom Cruise, other celebrities, and there's a theory that these stars use Scientology as a way to evade taxes. Now let me explain this. A church can receive a $50 million gift from, let's say, Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise donates $50 million to the Church of Scientology. Then the Church of Scientology can buy Tom Cruise a Malibu beach house worth $50 million. Now, and then they gift it to him. Now, if Tom Cruise wanted to buy that $50 million Malibu beach house by himself, taxes would have put him up a little bit more on money there, right? But if he goes through the church, he donates that money, he saves a ton on taxes. So I think that Scientology is a way for movie stars to avoid taxes. Now, I don't know about the rest of the organization, but I would think that celebrities kind of get through taxes this way.
What's the name of the wife of Kevin James and King of Queens? Leia Remini? Is that it? Something like that?
It's like Leia.
Leia-
Yeah, you're close.
okay.
It's L. Ron
it's
Hubbard.
not that. But
No. No.
she on I talk about Joe Rogan a lot. On the Joe Rogan Experience, talked about Scientology and kind of what Tom Cruise means to them. And I didn't listen to the whole thing, but Ryan, if you're interested in it more, I'd suggest actually checking it out because she breaks down how Tom Cruise is treated and maybe how into it he actually is. I think that is definitely plausible though with how you made it sound that's definitely a conspiracy that I could see. I don't really give a
Right?
shit about Scientology, but yeah, I could definitely see that. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, that's just like, you know, I mean, I don't know how Scientology operates their church and stuff like that, but I mean, that's like any, Catholic celebrity, like, like Matt Damon donates $50,000 or, $5 million to the Catholic Church. Like, yeah, like, it's weird to me that, like, did Tom Cruise tell them to donate, like, to gift him the house? I feel like there's some weirdness in there, because, like, why would they just, like, take his money but then gift him with a house?
Exactly. That's
Well,
what he's
it's
saying.
just a way of him. He's using them as the liaison to skip out on taxes. So he gives them that money with intentions of getting a house back.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's just shitty, and I don't think Tom Cruise does that.
We don't know everything about Tom Cruise's character. Maybe he's a nice guy, but he also might be a guy that's stingy on
I've
money.
never fucking met
He
him.
could be a good person. And, yeah, and we probably none of us ever will. But
He doesn't seem like that.
we never know. I mean, there's plenty of nice people that might also be cheap.
What?
Well, all I know is Tom Cruise and John Travolta, right?
Yeah.
Like,
The
those are
big
the
two.
only two.
Yeah, basically.
Those are the big two in terms of Scientology.
There's other ones,
Now,
but
both of these guys, like, in their heyday, they were making really good movies, but now they're not. So, like, maybe it's just, like, the church helps them because, maybe they are paying taxes on something else and they need a little help. But, like, other churches do that too.
yeah.
I mean, like, if there's an influential figure in the church that's, like, that needs some help, like, the church is there to help them.
All I'm saying is
So-
maybe it exists as an entity to allow that. Maybe.
Because after The Mummy this summer, like, Tom Cruise isn't going to have any money left, is what I'm saying. So, after the travesty that will be The Mummy, Tom Cruise is going to need some help from the church. So
All right.
maybe it's something he actually needs rather than tax evasion. But I don't know. I could see that. People are shitty.
Yeah. Well,
And people do take advantage of the church and other people's beliefs in order to get what
I'm
they
not
want.
going to drag mine out. I'm kind of going to ask for your guys' opinions. I don't believe it, but I do think there's so many theories around it that it gets you thinking. It definitely gets you thinking. I'm going to sound like an asshole. The John F. Kennedy assassination. I don't believe it, but it gets me thinking. Was the mafia involved? Was it because of JFK's parents or grandparents, whatever that conspiracy is? Was it because some dumbass FBI agent tripped and blew his head off? And, was Lee Harvey Oswald the only guy shooting about the grassy knoll? I just think it's such an interesting topic to read up on, more than it is plausible. I do think Oswald probably acted alone, but I kind of want to get your guys' input about it. That's more what I was wondering, more from a discussion base. Do you find any of it plausible, or do you just think it's all a bunch of blowing smoke?
It's obviously one of the most debated topics in American history. But I believe there was one shooter. I just think it was Oswald acting alone. Now, who he was involved with, I don't know. There's a lot of things. Like, this is definitely one to think about. I can't say I've never thought about the possibility of everything that's gone on. Like, everything you hear, you have to take into consideration with this whole situation, because nobody really knows for sure. Well, some people probably do, but we'll never find out. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If I had a time machine, that'd be one of the things I'd go see. I wouldn't save President Kennedy. I'd just see, like, not because I don't want to. It's just like the world would be drastically different.
Mayor
if that didn't
McCheese.
happen. So, yeah, exactly. So the so the thing is because it's such a highly debatable topic, I believe that it was one shooter, but if I had a time machine, one of the top 3 things I'd do is go see what went down. But that's my
Ryan,
opinion
what do
on
you
the
think?
matter.
Whenever big conspiracies are brought up like this, you have to consider how many people would have to be involved, would have had to know about this. Like, just take into consideration the different departments that would have had to known about this operation if it was through any sort of entity. There would have had to have been a lot of people involved to make a big operation like assassinating the president. And so when you consider that, I think it's really unlikely for any of these theories to have been true, because it's crazy. Like, no one can keep secrets. So if you're dealing with a bunch of people conspiring to kill the president, I don't believe it, because no one could keep their mouth shut like that for something that, like, killing the president.
And I think too many people would be just afraid. Like people are self-centered at their core.
Well, yeah.
I mean, most people, and especially assholes in government, and they would think like, "Oh, am I gonna get whacked because I know this?" Almost thinking like a mob mentality. Almost, I think.
Yeah.
Well, that was their point though. Like, anybody who they wanted to question just like ended up dead. So that's why it's such a weird situation that we will never know about, because just so many weird things happened and there seemed to be a lot of people involved.
Yeah. But somebody would have talked, so I don't believe them, but they're incredibly interesting to see the kind of evidence these people pull.
Well, like, think about this now. Like, anybody who, say there's one guy who was there who knows the absolute truth, knows exactly what happened, and he came out with all of his evidence and came out with this story, say 5 years ago. Nobody gives a fuck anymore. Like, it doesn't matter. You know, like, that's just the next crazy guy with the next crazy conspiracy about the Kennedy assassination, even if it's true, you know? So nobody knows the facts anymore, and it's always going to continue to be a conspiracy because nobody knows. And even if somebody does know, they're going to be looked at as the nut who thinks this about the Kennedy assassination, you know?
Yeah. Everybody good with that one?
Done.
Yeah.
Dan, what's yours?
All right, so I know we were supposed to talk about one, but I'll relate it kind of more over to our episode, but let me just mention one quickly before I go into this. I really do think the cure for cancer has been found, and that's being held from us. I think it's just the government's hand over society to kind of thin the herd, and all this money that gets poured into cancer research, I don't know where it goes. It probably goes into medication and everything like that, but I don't think it goes to
You never
cancer
heard
research,
of government officials dying of cancer either.
Exactly. So that's one that I believe, but, I mean, not everybody can stay alive forever. And I just kind of think the whole cancer research thing is kind of poopy, because they're not using the millions of dollars that are donated every year to cancer.
I think I disagree completely, and you're losing me in a big way with that conspiracy. Because, again, this goes into my factor. Think about the people that would have to be involved with that. That would be hundreds of thousands of people over the decades if they've had it for that long. Think about distribution. Think about handling research, things like that. It'd be too big of an operation to have kept silent. There's no way. People talk. That's what we do. I don't think something as big as the cure for cancer would have helped. If people knew about this, we would have millionaires clamoring for this if they were disease ridden, or anyone they knew were disease ridden. It's too big. There's no way.
Yeah, but then there are people, like it's got to be a small operation. But the thing is I just think that, like, why, like, the NFL and the NBA, like, all these fucking billion-dollar organizations always donate so much. Like, where does it go? Like, I just, for so long, there have been so many advancements in technology, yet we kind of still don't have
That's
it
an
for
interesting
cancer.
thing to look
And
up online, actually, like where they say it goes or something like that. I haven't
and
researched.
it goes to the these foundations, but these foundations are under the wing of the government. So I don't know. But that's not even my one. I just wanted to like that's one that I just kind of think is it's one that I've thought about. It's not necessarily like I don't think that people are being killed on purpose like, "Oh yeah, this guy deserved cancer." Like that's not what I'm saying. It's just what I want to bring up.
I completely agree. I mean, that's the point of this. They're conspiracy theories.
Yeah, but my real one is that I think aliens exist. I think that there's evidence that is being held, kind of like the cancer thing. I like like Area 51 and all that shit. Like that's bullshit. But like I do think that there has been some sort of more proof that like government has figured out that we haven't. Kind of like an Independence Day thing, like they've known for a long time and they just don't want to freak us out because people are so fucking pompous that they think that like we're the only ones in the universe. But the thing is like we are so fucking insignificant in such a large fucking thing. There's no way that we're the only living things like ever. So, like there are definitely aliens out there, and I think their truth has been kind of known for a while, and it is being held from us because there doesn't like people don't want to be freaked out.
I get that totally. I agree with you. I can't say for certain, obviously, if we know.
Like I'm not saying like
I agree with you. There is no fucking way that we are the only things out there. Whether we've made contact or not, that's a different argument. But yeah, I feel like that's a conspiracy theory that mostly everyone agrees on, right? That there is a different life form, whether it's some bacteria or piece of shit on Mars or I don't know. Even though shit's not living, I don't know what context that holds. But
yeah, but, I'm not saying like Bill Pullman has like and Jeff Goldblum like have like a secret lab out in the fucking Arizona desert and they've been operating on this alien body for fucking 60 years. Like that's not what I think. Like, I don't think Area 51 is, like, a real thing. But I think that the government has this intuition. I think them and NASA, like, have this proof that they can't release to the people because they don't want to freak people out about life out there. But I think we're approaching a time very soon to where we kind of have to know. Because meanwhile, we're finding all these other planets where life could exist, like, way out there. And I think some of that news could come in soon.
Ryan?
Well, it's definitely bullish to deny that there is not life in the universe besides ourselves. It gets into my thing that I've said already twice now of like it'd be too big if the government was hiding.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking too with Contact.
It's too big. But yeah, definitely there's life out there. I just think that maybe it's too vast to have us make contact like that. I mean, the way that we communicate might not be the way that other life communicates if they're able to reach out to us. Maybe they're so far advanced that they saw us and they thought to themselves, well, let's not even bother. This is primitive. So have we made contact? No, I don't think so. Maybe they're trying to contact us right now, and we don't have the means of receiving it. But
well, it's like it's such a weird thing to think about. I mean, regardless of what is out there, if there's anything, obviously, like all the science fiction films that have come out since the beginning of film. That have showed like these dangerous alien creatures that want to kill us. Like, I think people would want to believe that first before wanting to make friends with them.
What do you guys think would happen if we made first contact with aliens? This first contact being we make contact with aliens. That's just the term they use.
I think it'd be a lot like the movie Arrival, honestly. Stagnant, no one knows what the fuck's going on, and then you probably send in some linguistics expert. Not note for note, but I think the first difficult thing we'd have to get past is language barriers. So I think that's kind of what would happen. Everyone would be fucking on edge. The military would be involved, but to what extent? I don't think we'd make it all-out war immediately, unless it's North Korea. But I mean, that's kind of what I think.
You know, I just kind of wonder, like, what if there is a species anywhere? Like, what if we're all just living on this plane and we're all kind of inventing stuff at the same level? Like, there's, like, you know, like Howard the Duck's fucking planet is just Earth, but with ducks that are running the place, you know?
Well,
but they haven't figured out interstellar travel.
Howard the Duck is trans-dimensional. Let's get that thing clear.
Okay. All right. Sorry. So I just think there's an alien planet out there with humanoid, maybe not humanoid things that you know, like drive their cars to work every day and they get pissed, and they have a space program, but they haven't figured out how to send life through like a wormhole or a black hole or to across universes because they aren't as advanced, just like we aren't as advanced. Like, we just can't figure that out yet. And I think it's a goal every day to see what's out there because, you know, our planet's dying. So, you know, it's just interesting. And I think in our lifetime, there will be, I think there will be another inhabitable planet found, but not in our lifetime will it be the time in which we all go to live there.
The theory is that the universe is so big that there's possibly a parallel universe with us having this conversation in it. I mean, that's fucking crazy to think about.
And the multiverse theory says that there's like Howard the Duck versions of us having this exact same conversation as well.
Mike, are you saying that there's a universe in our universe of us, or are you saying that there just is
the universe is so
big there's like a
there's a possible replica Earth of us doing this, and there's or there's another Earth of us doing this with like Yumi and Trevor or some stupid shit like that. Like, that's how big it is.
Like, there's there's a mirrored Milky Way galaxy.
Okay, I understand now. Yeah, because I mean, it's fucking enormous.
Yeah.
All right.
Freaky shit, man. We got into some real shit right there. Like, that's not our normal conversation on this podcast, but that's a fun time. That's a nice throw up. That's a good twistedy do, you know. It's a no phones at work.
Well,
right.
Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
Episode 12. We'll be here for episode 13. Pirates of the Caribbean. Yes.
Yep.
Dan,
that comes out next week?
Yeah.
It comes out on Thursday night.
Dan, I'm going to try to see it in Ohio because I had my facts wrong of when I'll be home. But we'll do it on, and we'll be in the same location Sunday.
I mean, we'll all see it, and it'll be reviewed on our next podcast, but I'm going to see it Thursday night. I'm just the Pirates of the Caribbean fan, so I'm going to see it Thursday night. All right, so let's just let all our listeners know what my plans are this week. Every night I'm doing something. All right, we're done here. We don't.
All right. And that is this week's podcast. Remember to rate and subscribe to us if you're listening on iTunes. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, and we're going to have links for all that in the description. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. We try to engage a little bit on there, so please get involved. Please follow us. Please give us some likes. We'd appreciate it very, very much. And with that is episode 12. And as always, thank you for listening.
Love you guys.
What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us.